So welcome to the Luv Sub. Today we're going to make paper plate pizza. As mentioned earlier in the video, I'm going to show you start to finish how you can make a pizza in your RV with no mess or a very little fuss.
Awesome.
So here we go. So we're going to start with 2/3 cup of warmish water. And I say warm, it's warm to the touch. Don't get any hotter than that. I'm going to be adding a teaspoon of active dry yeast, which is this, and a teaspoon of sugar to the warm water, like so. And I'm going to be adding a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil to the water as well. And all we're going to do at this stage is we're just going to give it a stir. Give it a pretty good stir because you want the yeast to mix in with the water and start dissolving. And we're going to let this sit for 5 minutes. So 5 minutes have passed and your yeast water with a little bit of olive oil and sugar should look something like that. It should be nice and frothy. And if you notice the placemat or wax paper that I've set out as a placemat, that helps keep the flour off your countertop, and it also gives you a place to put things as you do your work. And here's our paper plate, and it's just a standard Dixie dinner plate. So we're going to start with 1 cup of bread flour, and I like to use bread flour, and I like to use King Arthur bread flour. And if you're interested in the video that we did of the tour of that facility, you can see the link up there. And
it's a great place to take your RV. There's a huge parking place.
Yes.
And you'll see that in the video.
Yes. So we did a cup of the King Arthur bread flour, and as I was saying, I like to use the bread flour because it has more gluten and gives the pizza a chewier texture. By all means, you can use all-purpose flour as well, if that's convenient. So that was a cup of the bread flour and a 1/4 cup of bread flour as well. So it's a 1 1/4 cups of bread flour. So you're going to sort of make a hole in the middle right there. And you're just going to start adding your water. So the goal is to get your dry ingredients moist. And don't forget the salt as well. So
how much salt?
That's a 1/2 teaspoon. So we're going to throw that in as well. So, and we're just going to go around the plate. You know, you can turn the plate as you go, and you're going to add more water as it gets used up. And you may use less of your yeast water, or you may end up using more, and it's all dependent on your weather conditions. It's kind of humid today, so we're in Alabama. Plate will keep dough out of your gray water tank and keep the messy cleanup to a minimum. Alright, I would say that that looks pretty good. And you can see how it's actually keeping the paper plate kind of clean. You're going to be adding some more flour later, so it looks a little sticky now, that's alright. Alright, we're going to cover this for 20 minutes. Alright, it's 20 minutes after I finished putting it together, and you're just going to pull the plastic wrap off. If it sticks, it's probably... Okay, we're going to add a little bit of flour to start the process. That was probably about 1/4 cup. And we're just going to start pulling it together so we can give it a kneading. So what the 20 minutes did was, it was a form of autolyzation that started the gluten working, which helps you later on not have to knead as much. So it won't be as soft as it was when it started. And the reason the paper plate is so great is this is the messiest part of the whole pizza. So I'm just sort of incorporating the flour just to get rid of the stickiness so that I can get my hands on it and start the kneading process. This the kneading process looks like. You're just going to turn it, pull side down, and press it. Turn it, pull it side down, and press it. Turn it, pull side down, and press it. So and if it starts feeling a little sticky, just add a little bit more flour. You don't need a lot of flour at this stage, probably a quarter of a cup or so. And you're just using enough to keep it from sticking onto your hands while you're doing this. And you'll do this for about 3 minutes. And my test for determining whether it's about ready to go for its rise is when I flip it over and I form it into a little ball like so, and I press on it and it pops back. It's getting there, just maybe a few minutes more. Should pop back pretty springly. Into a little ball. See, look, it's pretty tight. I've already pre-prepared this bowl right here with some safflower oil. I would use a light oil, not an EVOO, but a light olive oil or a canola oil. That goes there, which will get covered with, again, some plastic wrap. This will get thrown away, and we are done at this stage. It'll set to rise for 1 hour. So while your dough is rising, I'm going to do a couple different toppings. I've got some kale, I have some red onion, I've got some fresh herbs that I'm going to use, and I've got some ham that I'm going to cut out. I'm pouring some red wine vinegar over the kale along with some salt just to soften up the kale. I had to de-stem it, and I'm just putting a little salt in with the kale. With the vinegar, I'm just going to kind of toss the kale through the vinegar, and the vinegar will help soften the kale up a little bit. I'm just going to let that sit until the pizza is ready. I love the smell of basil. So about 15 or 20 minutes before your pizza dough is risen about an hour, you're going to want to preheat your oven. And I have a gas oven, so I turn the pilot light on, and everybody who has a gas oven knows the whole kit and caboodle. You gotta light the pilot. There it goes. Alright. You see the pilot's lit. I turn the oven to 400 degrees.
How accurate is your oven thingy?
Moderately accurate. I do have an oven thermometer, which I rely on. But you gotta note that all my heat is coming from the bottom here. So I always have to watch the bottom of anything that I'm cooking. So that's why my rack is up so high. So that's preheating the oven. So my oven, I've just checked, is at 350. So I'm going to take this time to start putting my dough into position and rolling it out. I'm not going to actually roll it out, I'm going to use my fingers and put my toppings on. So of course at this point you can use whatever toppings you like. I mean, today we're doing the ham, the onions, the herbs, and the kale that I prepared earlier. And we're going to use as our base the Big Bob Gibson barbecue sauce, since we visited them today.
So this is going to be a white pizza then?
This is going to be a white pizza. And as you can see, my dough is ready to go because it's forming these little bubbles, and it's more than ready to go actually. And it's ready to be laid out. And note this is parchment paper. This is not wax paper that I cut to fit the bottom of my pan. My pan is an air pan. As you can see, it's got holes in it, and it's a Le Creuset air pan.
And that just travels in the oven when we're not using it?
Yes. So I'm just going to use my hands and just spread out my dough on this piece of parchment paper. That just is another way to making the cleanup easier. The parchment paper will not catch on fire in the oven. At least it hasn't in our ovens. See these little dough bubbles means my yeast has done its work. So this will just take a minute. See, this makes a pizza that almost fits this pizza pan. So now we're going to do the sauce. See the pepper in this sauce. It's vinegar based, mayonnaise based pepper. It'll make a nice pizza. Alright, we're going to add the cheese. Okay, next I'm going to do the kale. Onions next. I'm going to leave the herbs until after it bakes because herbs are delicate and they can burn. Kale, however, is a hardier plant and can take the oven heat. Alright, this is just the ham. These are just ham slices that I cut up. Literally cannot have enough pepper. I love pepper. So there you have it. We're going to add the herbs at the end. I'm going to check the temperature of the oven. Still looks like it's working, so we can just leave the pizza sit for a few minutes before we stick it in. So it probably took another 10 minutes for my oven to heat up to 400 degrees. But as you can see, it's at 400 degrees. You can see by the thermometer, it's going to drop a little bit because I have the oven door open. But as you can see, the thermometer says 400 degrees, and I'm putting it up in the rack in the high position here. And we're going to stick that in for 15 minutes or until the bottom side gets brown enough to move. So this was after 15 minutes on 400. And you can see the kale doesn't look too bad. I am going to do a nice little trick to finish it off. And so what I'm going to do is put it down here underneath the flame so that the top can get nice and brown.
It's kind of like a broiler, huh?
It is kind of like broiler. I mean, the top has a broil function, but I don't think it's that functional as a broiler. I think if you put it underneath where the flame is and you turn it up just a little bit to give it a flame, and you just sort of want to keep an eye on it at this stage. So it could be 5 minutes, it could be, just, a few minutes just to see what the doneness that you like as far as the top goes, but maybe 5 minutes under the broiler, under the bottom, and you will finish your pizza off perfectly. So I think the pizza is about ready to come out, so we shall have a look. It's been in probably about 6 minutes under the broiler. It might have gotten done more on one side than the other, and that's probably a factor that you should probably just turn it.
I'd say it looks pretty good.
I think it looks pretty good. It got done on one more side than the other, but it's just a matter of turning it. And I think it needs to cool just a bit before we sample it, but I think it looks pretty good. All right, you can check out the bottom, which I think looks pretty good, right? And I talked about a tool that was going to be great when you cut your pizza, and that's what this is. I wanted a tool.
What's it called?
They're called Skizza, and we'll put the link in the description below. And I wanted a tool that would not harm my nice pan. And so the brilliant part of this is these scissors do not touch the pan at all because there's that platform below it.
We understand British people use scissors to cut their pizza.
Look at that. Isn't that amazing?
Look at that. Look at that. The Teflon bottom so that you don't scratch your nice
Le Creuset.
Le Creuset. Look at this.
Look at this. Isn't this amazing?
Why would you do that roller thing?
Right, exactly. And look how
This
nice.
is the greatest thing ever.
Look how nice it's cutting the pizza.
We'll totally have a link below. Maybe we can become Skizza ambassadors. That'd be great.
And according to their website, you can actually serve with this. So I think what that meant is doing something like that. You can actually serve it to the plate.
Do that again.
But I love these things. I think they're awesome. They're very nice and sharp, and they will not be dulled by doing anything but cutting your pizza. Look at this. All our pizza is cut. And there you go. So if you liked our video, please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and give us a massive thumbs up if you like this type of video, because we'll do more of them like that, because I have some ideas about cooking in an RV because I've had fun doing that. So until the next time, enjoy your pizza.